They're reporting live from my bedroom. Welcome to the review. You guys can't tell from my elaborate face gems, jacket, corresponding hairbrush, microphone, and shirt. I decided to read a Spider-Man comic. I decided to read Peter Porker, the spectacular Spider-Ham. Apocalypse Now. The entire issue. I read the entire issue. So, how do we think Peter Porker became Spider-Ham? I'll give you some time to guess. If you think for a second that this was a pig bitten by a radioactive spider, you're terribly and incredibly wrong. The origin of Spider-Ham is that it was a human spider that was bit by a radioactive pig. And isn't that better? Isn't that so much? That alone deserves its own Marvel saga. The issue starts off during Molotron. It's a play on words on Voltron. So, we don't have the Avengers. We're feral here. We have the Scavengers. The Scavengers are fighting Molotron. And at this point in time, Spider-Ham is the bacon. He's hot shit. And excuse my pig Latin. But he is. He just got back from saving the multiverse. He's like, you guys. Like, salute me, I'm your captain now. But at the end of the day, Spider-Ham's a little baby. Because he doesn't take things seriously, so no one else takes him seriously. And he doesn't see that his actions have consequences. Spider-Ham thinks he's the bacon, and he's super cool and hot, and his ego and his pride are taking hold of Peter Porker at this moment. But instead of the Scavengers going up to him and being like, dude, like, we have to kick you down a few notches, they just kind of like shrug him off and get him distracted so he runs away and they don't have to deal with him. Spider-Ham's like, yeah, you guys are right. I've worked myself today. He goes home, Aunt Ham instead of Aunt May. Aunt May's the pig who bit him in his origin story. Anyways, Aunt Ham is like, oh my god, you're still here, I thought I told you to move out. Why are you here, bestie? And he's like, what do you mean you don't want me? I know you want me. I'm the bacon. And he goes away and eats her pie. He trolleys off to work. Hey, Jonah Jackal is just insulting his work, his art, his photography. He's saying, like, I don't want these lame photos of a human Spider-Man. Like, get me Spider-Ham. He's like, whatever. It's gonna cost you, okay? Because I got connections. I got plans I cannot reveal at this very moment in time. So basically, the villain in Peter Porker's story is aging. It's growing up. He does not want to mature. He's not acting mature. He's done a lot of mature things, like save the multiverse, but his biggest enemy is growing up. And that's why I inserted this comedy clip right here.
Deserve that.
You deserve it?
Yeah.
Three white guys whose biggest issue is, what, growing up?
No, I feel like it's more nuanced than
that.
that.
It's very funny. Please Don't Destroy the movie comes out November 17th on Peacock. Let's get back to the pork. Suddenly, an alien invasion happens, and he's like, oh my god, I gotta go, boss. Trolleys along. This is so weird, isn't it, Daredevil? And he loses his color, and he becomes evil. And Spider-Ham's like, where are the Scavengers? Like, why am I always the one, like, seeing the trouble? Like, they need to be, like, they don't anticipate needs. Spider-Ham goes to get help. He goes to Scavengers headquarters. He's like, guys, I know you guys are like hiding to plan my birthday party, but like we gotta get it together. Come on. It's a rough little scene. He finds out that he's being excluded and that they don't think he's as good of a superhero as them. It's a big thing. It's a very sad scene, honestly. But it's the first time that Spider-Ham's like, damn, like I can't just be the funny one. That can't just be my superhero because I'm saving the world every other day. Aggravating. He says, you know what, guys? I'm not gonna take this. Sets a boundary. By setting a boundary, I mean he transports to human Peter Parker's, I was about to say Porker, to human Peter Parker's universe. Peter Parker's like, I can't do this right now. Like, I cannot be babysitting. What's going on? I have a neighborhood to be the friendly Spider-Man of. I can't deal with a Spider-Ham. Peter Parker's like, hey, like, they don't understand what's going on, and like, only my spider crew gets me. Real ones know. Okay, just come with me, even though you don't know anything and I don't even know how to help you and you're asking for help, you're confusing, let's go. They go to the Fantastic Four headquarters and they find out Spider-Ham's like really fucking like impenetrable. Like, talk about goated, beefed up beefcake. Porked up pork cake? That sounds like a slur. I'm not gonna continue saying it. When Peter Parker's trying to leave because he's like, you guys seem to have this under control, Spider-Ham's like, where are you going? We're in this together. Best friends, right? And he's like, listen, dude. You're just too silly goofy for me. Like, you just come in playing whack-a-mole with everything. It's a mess. I have a wife. I gotta get back. This really upsets Peter Parker, I will say. Ugh! I wish I could just, you know, be important like you want me to. Obviously, you don't think I can chase the villain. I just wish I could do that. And he wishes himself into another dimension. Talk about just puzzling pig, because, ugh. But here's the thing. That other dimension is World War II Germany. The bitch went to Germany. And at this point, he is just like the slinky dog of Spider-Hams. Like, he is a 1930s looking, red, silly, goofy guy. Like, when I say this dude is silly, goofy, ugh. This silly Spider-Man, he is like he's, first of all, so funny. He always has a mallet, and no one knows where he's getting it from, but he is tearing down these Nazis. According to PremiumBeast.com, which is what they called me when I was in junior high, breaking the fourth wall takes the concept of the wall to another level. Within standard conventions, actors never acknowledge the existence of the audience, the play, or the scene. Instead, they focus all of their attention on the fictional world they're in. Breaking the wall turns this normal convention around and has the actors recognize the audience or a narrative directly, as if they know they're being watched. This could be through addressing the audience directly, speaking about the plot as if they're watching it with you, or making a comment that they're aware they're in a fictional place. Now, I don't know about you, but I heard a lot of, oh, Marvel flopped after Endgame. Like, what's the point of having superhero movies? Like, there's too many of them. They all have the same storyline, and at this point, they're intertwining plots. Like, what's the purpose of them? It's not that there are too many superhero movies, it's that there are too many bad superhero movies and bad movies in general. Audiences are smarter than they get credit for, and if studios keep churning out mediocre material just to feed the beast, that's going to be limiting for creativity and ultimately will probably hurt the business. But I couldn't agree more. While Spider-Man may be a fun retelling, reimagination of Spider-Man, it's playing for both teams at this point, and I don't mean to call him bisexual because I don't know if that's canon or not. Marvel is aware of the overabundance of superhero stories, and Spider-Ham just is another example of the overabundance. There's so many superheroes, maybe we'll make them a pig. And it'll sell for $1 million. But they know exactly what's going on, and by breaking the fourth wall in this issue and doing it so effortlessly and so funny, and I think it's a big part of who the character of Spider-Ham is, he's cognizant. Surprisingly. But he's doing this to connect to his audience. There's so many animal versions of Tony Stark and Captain America, and it's stories we've seen before. Moltron is Voltron, but at the end of the day, by breaking the fourth wall, he's acknowledging and talking to the audience and being like, hey, a crucial part of Spider-Ham's character is the way that the story is told, and I think that's a very rare thing in today's comic book genre. You know, his plot is driven by the plot-telling devices. It's so meta, like I can't, like I basically am reading a mirror when I read this comic book. Mojo appears. Mojo is basically Jabba the Hutt, but I think scarier in a lot of ways. But Mojo's like, yeah, I've been watching all these universes from afar, and honestly, Spider-Man, I can make you famous. Spider-Ham, take my hand. Spider-Ham, take my hand, Spider-Ham. And Mojo, he's Mojo. He's just this kind of terrifying monster of a conglomerate company. And he was mad because all of this upheaval was ruining his entertainment. He was losing money. Mojo vision. Anyways, Mojo goes up to him. He was like, listen, I got a lot of production. I got a lot of products out in the metaverse. Literally, I can make a Peter Griffin out of you, which he did. And it was very funny. They actually do capture the essence of Adult Swim quite beautifully, I will say. He's like, okay, fine. I guess I have to. Oh, the Scavengers are back on Feral Island. They're like, you know what? With all this weird shit going on, and they realize that they were taking him for granted, and he does have worth. And also, Spider-Ham and Spider-Man have this really deep talk about purpose while they're breaking the fourth wall. Mojo is destroyed when BoJack Horseman's equivalent just yelps and breaks the glass, but he just understands the power of teamwork and how he can't just dip out all the time. He actually has to like clean up after some of his messes. And the Scavengers see this too, and they're like, oh, we're really sorry. And he says, I forgive you guys. I'll forgive you guys. Overall, I think that this comic book series is clever. It's hilarious. It's a little under the nose humor. I don't know if that's a saying. I think it is. I hope it is. But it's really clever, and I think it mocks but also praises Marvel for the just constant churning out of superhero stories. It adds to contemporary discourse about just the abundance of individualism. Everyone's trying to make this unique character when really, like, at the end of the day, you just gotta make fun of it. It does say a lot about mass production and how if a big conglomerate company like Marvel becomes self-aware about overproduction, they produce more copies and they sell a lot more.